Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you here, guys. In today's video I was thinking to share with you some fragrances that would be a perfect fit for this transitional period between late summer, early autumn basically, so when the temperatures are still pretty warm throughout the day, but in the morning and let's just say in the evening they get a bit more chilly and cold. Yeah, of course take these as what they are, recommendations. I'm not saying that you need to get new fragrances, but I wanted to share some fragrances that I cannot wait to wear. So I changed a little bit the camera angle because I felt like we were a little bit too zoomed in, too close. Now yeah, like I've mentioned, these fragrances are fragrances that, at least in my opinion and to my taste, would be perfect transitional fragrances. Not the thickest, richest, most complex, heaviest, most intense fragrances that perhaps you'd wear during winter time, but they are neither those, I don't know, like sparkling citrus with something sugared about them, you know what I mean? So these fragrances overall have a bit more depth to them. Let's just say some feel a bit more jammy. I've added an incensey fragrance here because to me summer, like the energy of summer, it's fun, it's bright, it's light, it's not too serious in a way, whereas let's just say the energy of autumn is a bit more introspective, is a little bit more, not really melancholic, but definitely much more introspective to me. So let's start. I don't know with which one to start. Let me start with an honorable mention. It's an honorable mention because I'm supposed to receive the full bottle today, but I still wanted to amazing, but I still wanted to highlight it. This fragrance is called Haltat Night by Attar Collection, and this fragrance, let's just say if you're a lover of Sajai Gold from Junaid Perfumes and you wanted something that features a very similar cherry cinnamony combo, but this time add a freshly cut red apple to the mix, some powdery musky accents, a touch of something dry and woodsy that grounds a little bit of fragrance, and a dash of patchouli that adds this beautiful green aromatic touch, this is the fragrance to me. And what I love about this fragrance is the added cinnamon touch. The cinnamon, should I spray it? Let me spray it because I will get my full bottle finally. I've been on the lookout for this fragrance for such a long time, and for some reason, I don't know why, here in Romania, I was always able to find other fragrances from Attar Collection, but I was never able to find this one in particular. And also, by the way, in case you are curious, I bought it from Perfume for around 60 euros, I think. Yeah, for around 60 euros. This is so beautiful, you guys. So this is an intense fragrance. This fragrance, because of the spicy burst in the opening, because of that beautiful sweet spicy cinnamony facet with the red apple, with almost these beautiful cherry-like hints, but the cherry complements so well the cinnamon. I love this fragrance. I love how this fragrance smells like. So it's more intense than your typical summery fragrance, but it's less intense than, I don't know, like Hamra. I mean intense texture-wise, because this is quite a strong fragrance. This is not the kind of fragrance that's a skin scent. So yeah, this was my first recommendation. I cannot wait to wear it. Oh my god, I cannot wait to wear it. And also, if you are like me and you love the vibe of Sajai Gold from Junaid Perfumes, unfortunately discontinued, then I would actually encourage you to look into this fragrance. Not to say that they smell alike, because of course they do not smell alike. I still haven't found a fragrance that replaces that one, unfortunately, but it gives me a similar energy, gives me a similar feel because of that cherry cinnamony combo. So that was the first recommendation. Moving on to the other fragrances, let me see. Okay, so let me highlight a fragrance that I've started to wear again. Now, one thing about me, I love to wear fragrances all year round, depends on my mood, on my energy, I've told you this, but let's just say for a while now, I became much more aware of other people. Not to say that before I was not aware, but the thing is, before, honestly, I didn't care. I was like, I'm gonna wear whatever the hell I want to wear. If you don't like my fragrance, you don't like my fragrance. And I still, to a certain extent, let's just say, have this idea in my mind, but at the same time, during the summer, I try to be mindful of other people because I know in my circle, people who get dizzy from too strong fragrances, people who get like sick to their stomach if a perfume is too strong in the summertime, and I didn't want my fragrance to be causing such effects on other people, let's say. But a fragrance that I started to wear again, and Again, I'm not really sure if you are able to find this fragrance, but I will give you another recommendation if you cannot find this one. So this is L'Extase Rose Absolue from Nina Ricci. I don't know if you can see, you guys, but I have about this much of the fragrance, and luckily I have a backup bottle, so I'm not too mad about this. But this, let me just spray it. This is a brilliant fragrance, you guys. To me, this embraces your sensuality as a woman. This embraces your femininity. Not the most light feminine energy, no, I'd say something a bit more dark and mysterious, but warm, the way the rose accord is done. So you have a beautiful jammy rose accord. It feels so jammy, you know when you eat. I don't know about you if you like or love, but personally I love a well done rose jam. Especially the jam that has petals inside, and you know when you eat that jam, let's just say, and you get to the petals and they feel very chewy, and it's almost like an explosion of flavor. To me, this is how the rose accord is done. So it's definitely jammy, but the sweetness doesn't come, I don't know, think a sugary accord, think a vanilla accord. No, to me the sweetness comes from the rose accord, and the rose almost feels chewy, you know, you have this beautiful, I don't know, like dozens upon dozens of different rose petals, or jammy and rich and intense and warm and sweet on a base of something resinous, benzoin for sure, that adds even more warmth, that adds a lot of body to the fragrance. So this fragrance doesn't feel like a one-dimensional, I guess you could call it in English, fragrance. No, it feels quite layered, but the spotlight is the rose accord for sure. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful benzoin that rich, no, that's not a word, that adds even more richness to the fragrance. Yeah, genuinely there's not a one thing I would complain about this fragrance. And I wore it yesterday actually. It was still pretty warm outside, I don't know, like 20 something degrees Celsius, but this fragrance, I'm telling you, I did, I think, around 5 or 6 sprays, and I was surrounded by this beautiful scent, and every time I moved, every time I did something, I got beautiful whiffs of this fragrance. Yeah, so in case you have this fragrance, why not? I think now it might be the time to show it some love, you know. So let me highlight now a fragrance that could be your all year round fragrance, but I think this works really well in autumn as well. This is called Violet Sugar from Perfume, and this is an inspiration to Sol de Janeiro 59, yes, 59. And this, to me, this features a beautiful candied violet accord, but not just a candied violet. Let me just spray this one as well. To me, where I've reached for this fragrance, I don't know if you can see, but I've actually worn it. To me, this fragrance fits that casual, day-to-day, grab-and-go kind of fragrance. When you want something that's sweet, when you want something that feels almost like it has something in the gourmand territory, but not too gourmand, not too juvenile, not too sickly sweet. To me, this is that fragrance, like a chic grab-and-go, running errands, grabbing a pair of jeans and a blouse, and you're out on the go. Yeah, a beautiful, warm, candied violet. So this smells purple and sugared. Soft, woody accents in the background add a bit of dryness, but also a bit of depth to the composition. And I don't know why, for some reason, I get this almost like a cheesecake-like accord in the opening. So it's a little bit, not sweet and sour, sweet. You know that cheesecake-like flavor, like a forest berry kind of cheesecake flavor. Yeah, I get something like this in the opening. Beautiful fragrance, again, very easy to wear. Very easy to wear, doesn't feel juvenile, doesn't feel neither like a fragrance that's too serious. Overall, I'd say it's a fragrance that's extremely versatile for me. Yeah, generally it's the kind of fragrance that I don't have to think twice about reaching for it. Of course, it's not a fragrance that will give me a beast mode performance. It's a fragrance, like I told you, to me fits day to day. Like, I don't know, I have to run out of the house to do some errands or to run some errands for a few hours. This will do the job for sure. So this is another fragrance that's very beautiful. If you love body mist from Sol de Janeiro, I would actually, of course, if you have access to this brand, to Perfume, I would encourage you to look into them. They have an inspiration for this fragrance, they have an inspiration for Cerosa 71, they have an inspiration for Cerosa 62. Yeah, and if you love the body sprays, or if you love the body lotions, body butters, these are actually ultra versatile to have. So that's that fragrance. Now moving on, you guys, for some reason I associate autumn with fruity patchoulis. Not only with fruity patchoulis, with spices, with thick, rich, decadent vanillas, but especially with fruity patchoulis. And I have here one recommendation, actually two. One is for someone who loves fruity patchoulis, but they do not like them to be challenging. And the other one is for those who love fruity patchoulis, but they want something a bit more naughty, let's just say, and untamed. First things first, Jimmy Choo by Jimmy Choo. This is a classic in my collection. I don't know, for some reason, yes, this gives me early 2000 vibes when I smell it. I think this was like released in 2010, 2011, but it doesn't smell dated at all to my nose, at all. And the patchouli is done in a very specific way to that time in perfumery, you know? It has that trademark in a sense. Yeah. Juicy, dewy, aquatic pear on a bed of patchouli. This is it, you guys. Genuinely, this is it. Maybe some soft floral facets in the background. And as you wear this fragrance, a beautiful thick caramel accord that's sweet, but not sickly sweet, especially compared to some of the other sweet fragrances we have now at the moment. This fragrance, this to me, this is a dangerous fragrance. For some reason, this feels very naughty. Yeah. Oh, but so beautiful, so free-spirited in a way, I don't know why. And again, it's crazy to think that the fragrance that was released when, like 2000, I'm guessing 2010 or 2011. I don't know why I have this year in my mind, I think that's when. Or maybe even earlier than that, 2006, but I don't think so. It's crazy to think that, what, like almost like 15 years later, this still smells good, not good, this smells amazing to me. This still smells, it's still something you could rock and you could wear and you could feel amazing while wearing it without feeling like you're wearing, I don't know, a dated fragrance or a vintage fragrance by any means. Yeah. What do you think about fruity patchoulis? Do you think they are still wearable in 2025 or do you think they are a little bit outdated? Because I know there was a time in perfumery where every brand popped out a fruity patchouli, one fruity patchouli after another, with different tweaks. Some added a little bit of leather, some added a little bit of something different, some changed the fruity accord, let's just say, but they kept that patchouli. Basically, how the patchouli is done in this fragrance and in a lot of other fragrances from that era. Don't think of a patchouli that feels dirty, earthy, skanky. It's not that type of patchouli like you have in Black Orchid, for instance. To me, it's a patchouli that, you know, think of more aromatic and darker and less minty of a mint, you know, like when you crush mint leaves, it's almost like you're crushing in your hand some like mint leaves with other type of greenery, you know, and you have this somewhat of a minty green aromatic touch. Yeah, this is how the patchouli is done in this fragrance. And for those who want something, let's just say maybe this style of fragrances is not new to you, maybe you love it, maybe you want something that takes it up a notch or steps it up even more, then I want to recommend you another fragrance. This is called The Rose from El Absar, and this fragrance, no, it's not an inspiration of Atomic Rose from Initio. Luckily, it's not an inspiration to that. Let me just spray it here. So this fragrance, you guys, think the same fruity patchouli, but this time, brilliant what they did. Replace the pear with raspberry. So you have this beautiful, almost of a dewy red fruity accord. Add the most beautiful cotton candy-like facet in the background. A funky leather accord and with the accent on funky. This is funky, you guys. But the funkiness of the leather, it's almost like, how to describe, you know, leather accords can be done in a very different manner. Like not all leather accords are done the same. Now this leather accord borderline smells like cigarette smoke. And I know for some this might be like a deal breaker, like who wants to smell like cigarette smoke? I love the smell of perfume mixed with cigarette smoke first, but this thing still in a perfumey way. But yeah, this is what I wanted to say. If you want something that still has such a beautiful patchouli accord, so this deep dark green aromatic patchouli with this woodsy leathery combo that's funky and that's a borderline coming across as cigarette smoke, not cigar smoke, because that's a different type of smoky scent profile, but no, like cigarette smoke. So it's a bit more ashy, you know. this smells like good times, this smells like fun times, this fragrance smells wild, this fragrance smells like you want to let loose and have fun and not care about tomorrow. Not to say that you need to have this attitude or energy when you're wearing this fragrance, but this is that wild, untamed, unapologetically loud fragrance, you know? Yeah, and I really like this pairing between the raspberry that adds this slight tartness to the composition, and of course the fruity accent, with that cotton candy-like facet that almost, not to say that it adds a gourmand flavor or essence to the fragrance, because it doesn't smell edible per se, but it still adds this beautiful sweet dimension to the composition, you know, this cotton candy-ish like dimension, and then you have all those different darker, more challenging facets. It generally smells like, in my mind, you'd apply something like Mula Mula or like Mula Mula Rouge Extreme or Extreme, something like this, that features a red fruity accord, and you'd smoke a cigarette. And the scent of those two combined, to me, this is how this would smell, you know, like this fragrance, like the rose from El Absar. Yeah, genuinely, think Mula Mula Rouge Extreme, I think it's called, because that features a red fruity facet and also a much bolder leather accord. You'd wear that fragrance and you'd smoke a cigarette, and the scent of those two combined is this fragrance. I know this is not for everyone's taste. Now, yeah, personally, like I've mentioned, I love the smell of cigarette smoke mixed with perfume, but maybe that's just me, I don't know. But this is another fragrance that would work brilliant in this weather. Yeah, so in case you have it, show it some love. In case you don't have it and you were on the hunt for something like this, test it. Look for a sample, look for a decant and test it. Okay, so let me highlight next an incensey fragrance. Since we are discussing more funky accords, more decadent fragrances, I wanted to highlight this fragrance, Oud Aswad from Swiss Arabian. Yeah, one thing about me, I love the smell of not just incense stick, incense like frankincense, resins, myrrh also, I love the smell of myrrh. I love everything resinous, balsamic, but also smoky accents. So I love the smell of cigarettes, in perfumes, I love the smell of cigarettes, I love the smell of cigars, I love the smell of tobacco leaf, dried tobacco, different types of, yeah. You got the vibe. But this fragrance is for those who love rose, but think of a rose scented incense stick that's burning, because this is how this fragrance smells like. Genuinely, the notes break down, you have like a bunch of different things, almost, if I remember correctly, thyme, a bunch of different woody, leathery, woody accords, rose, saffron, I think a lot of different things. But how this fragrance smells like to my nose, to me, this genuinely smells like a rose scented incense stick that's burning. So you have this incensey, almost. This is so beautiful, wow. No, this is an intense fragrance for someone who has an intense personality. I think this fragrance can very quickly feel overwhelming on the wrong person. This is not the kind of fragrance that's like your skin but better. This is exactly the opposite of everything that your skin but better stands for. This is loud, this is bold, this is dark, this is unapologetic, this is strong, this is an intense fragrance. And this is a fragrance for someone with a bold energy or who wants to feel bold. But again, not that you want to feel, because I think if you don't have the mood and the personality and the taste for such a fragrance, it can feel like it overpowers you, like it could feel pretty overwhelming to wear such a composition. Still, with everything I've tried from Swiss Arabian up to date, to me this is the best. This is the best. This is the most unique one also. I don't think, at least to my knowledge, bear in mind I haven't smelled all the fragrance out there, but I don't think this is supposed to be a clone or a dupe to another fragrance. No, to me it definitely has its place in their collection. And even, look, this is in the Shagaf collection with Shagaf Oud Aswad. To me this one, Aswad, is the most beautiful one. But also, if you have Shagaf Oud Aswad and if you have Shagaf Oud, layer the two, because you get the best of both worlds. It will smooth out a little bit those ashier, dusty, incensey accents. It will amplify the sweetness even more. It's just, I cannot even begin to tell you how many compliments I received when I wear this fragrance layered with Shagaf Oud. Oh my god. And I've worn those two together for such a long time. This or that combo used to be one of my signature fragrances. Now, I don't know if I want to wear them like that, because for some reason wearing those like that brings me back in 2021, 2022. And I feel like I'm a bit of a different person, but still this brilliant fragrance. So that was the other recommendation. Now something a little bit more lighthearted, let's say, something a little bit more fun. I love dark fragrances. I love fragrances that feel intense. I love fragrances that are not afraid to shine. I love fragrances that are not afraid to be loud and bold and daring. But I also love fragrances that are sweet. I also love fragrances that feel girly. I feel like I have a little bit of everything in my collection. Minus freshies, citruses, floral forward fragrances, anything green, that's not my cup of tea. But moving on to a fragrance that's again for some reason autumn in a bottle. Maybe because during autumn you make alcohol, and for some reason this gives me the vibe like you've soaked tonka beans in alcohol to make a tincture or somewhat of that sort, you know. But yeah, let me restart this camera because it's about to shut down, and I will talk about Date Caramel next. So Date Caramel from Paris Corner, guys. Like I told you, to me this gives me autumn vibes, because in autumn it's when people prepare, at least here in Romania, to make a lot of different alcohol, you know, wine, other different beverages. And this to me in the opening genuinely smells like you'd soak lots of tonka beans in alcohol to make a tincture, like a tonka bean tincture or something like this, because you get that beautiful, deep, nutty, rich of a tonka flavor, but you also get almost like a boozy, alcoholic undertone about it, you know what I mean? Yeah, in the opening this is how it smells like. So it's sticky, dense, thick, but then a beautiful caramel accord starts to shine, a beautiful and very well done date accord starts to shine, and the overall fragrance, I still pick up some tonka bean accent, but slowly but surely they move in the background and you lose that unexpectedly boozy facet in the opening. And the scent gets sticky, legit sticky to the touch almost. This is how sticky sweet it gets from the date accord. This smells so beautiful and so, again, feminine and playful, but with something about it, but very sweet. Oh my god, this is a very sweet fragrance. I think from everything I've showed you today, if not the most sweet fragrance, one of the sweetest fragrances, but actually I think this is the most sweet fragrance. But what shines in this fragrance and why I wanted to highlight it is how the date is done. It feels extremely realistic and paired with this creamy caramel vanillic almost of a combo. It goes through such a beautiful development and it feels so sticky and so creamy after, legit creamy, silky almost. Yeah, and dark. This is a dark fragrance. This is not the kind of fragrance that feels light and bright and fun and uplifting. No, this has something darker to it and it's very rich texture wise. And again, nothing sharp, nothing flat, nothing, I mean, I do pick up something alcoholic. I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but genuinely I think it works brilliant in the fragrance, so I'm not mad about this aspect, you know. So that was Date Caramel. Yeah, and I think we have one fragrance. Actually, we have two other fragrances, but I want to highlight one that I want to wear a lot, and then I want to highlight another one in case you want something that smells like the first one, but it's a bit different. It's too complicated. Let me just show the fragrances. Royal Blend and Royal Blend Nero from French Avenue. Amazing collection, outstanding collection. I saw they have one Royal Blend Sequoia, I think it's called, which is supposed to be an inspiration of Angel Share Paradis. But yeah, I haven't smelled that one, but I've smelled other inspirations of that fragrance, Angels Share Paradise. So Royal Blend, the OG Royal Blend, to me is a fragrance that I fall in love with this fragrance. Generally, if I would have to keep only two fragrances, and I say two because I cannot choose, but if I would only have to keep two fragrances that smell like a spicy apple pie, I'd keep this one and I Am Decadent. And also, I'd keep Amber Rhythm from Afnan, but that's a bit of a twist on the DNA, let's say. But this fragrance, nothing to complain about. The scent profile, brilliantly done, beautiful. But let me just spray it, because again, I'm getting ahead of myself and I am not even spraying this fragrance. So first things first, out of these two fragrances from the Royal Blend collection, I think it's called, to me the one that stood out the most is this one, Royal Blend, the OG, the simple one, because I love what it did with the texture of the fragrance. This feels molecular, this feels minimalistic, this feels feels like a cloud of fragrance in a way, but like at the same time it's very intense. I really love, it's almost like a juxtaposition what they did, you know, with notes that come across as so intense, but the texture of the fragrance feels so light and airy and molecular and breezy. Yeah, beautiful fragrance. This, again, if you want something like Angel Share, you cannot go wrong with this fragrance, you guys. You genuinely cannot go wrong. It feels so chic, so hipsterish, so statement, sophisticated, but modern at the same time. Yeah, this is that fragrance. Now, if, let's just say, maybe you want something that feels definitely not minimalistic and molecular, maybe you want something that feels a bit more intense, a bit more complex, that has quite a lot of weight and body to it, then I would recommend you to look into this fragrance. The amount of amazing feedback I received on Royal Blend Nero is outstanding, honestly, and I can definitely see why, even though it's not my favorite one. Not to say that this is not good, because this is brilliant as well, but this shines much more to me because of the texture and what they did with this fragrance. This to me is a beautiful fragrance as well, but if you want something a bit different, and let me spray it and tell you. So Royal Blend Nero, like I've mentioned in the review I've done for this fragrance, think of Royal Blend Nero as an upgraded Khamra by Lattafa. Genuinely, an upgraded, better done, with higher quality ingredients Khamra by Lattafa, because you have the same apple accord that you have in Khamra. Even though a lot of people say they do not smell apple, I smell apple in Khamra, and not just any type of apple accord, that kind of apple accord that smells like McDonald's apple juice from the 90s, okay? So that's the kind of apple juice I'm talking about. Here it's not as apple juice like from McDonald's from the 90s, but I do still pick up this facet with beautiful cinnamon sticks, so it has this beautiful sweet spicy overtone. I pick up something like date, like caramel with date, but it's not the kind of caramel with date that you have in Date Caramel from Paris Corner that's photorealistic. Here to me it's a bit more toned down and creamy. This is the vibe it gives me, and with the same beautiful resinous body that adds a lot of richness to the fragrance. Again, I don't know what kind of resin. Out of my mind, I'd say benzoin, because it's quite an easy to tolerate resin that just adds a lot of weight and body to the fragrance, warmth, and a bit of sweetness, you know? Yeah, that's the vibe. Something dry and woodsy in the background, but this overall, it's much more complex, it's much more layered. Each particular accord, it's, to my nose, it's better done in a way. And then you have some green accents, something like patchouli, green aromatic facets. I don't know why, I remember I used to pick up cardamom in this fragrance. Now, at least here on paper, I don't pick it up anymore. But yeah, so this is the fragrance. If you felt like, as a man, you love how Khamra by Lattafa smells like, but perhaps you found it to be a bit too sweet for your taste, I'd say this one. I've received amazing feedback, especially from men, for this fragrance. Yeah, surprisingly, and I can sense why, because it has something green and aromatic that cuts a bit from the sweetness without fully cutting from the sweetness. So I think they did a beautiful job with that fragrance, and I think, you guys, this sums up the last fragrance I wanted to highlight. So these are some of the fragrances that I wanted to highlight for today's video. These are fragrances that would work brilliant in this transitional time, early days of autumn, the start of autumn season, why not? Even during the winter time, you could wear some of these fragrances. But like I always say, fragrance is subjective. What I recommend you to wear during the autumn, you might wear only during the winter time, you know, because I've had such comments when I did like years ago this kind of videos, and that's okay. That's the beauty of fragrance. You have the freedom to wear whatever makes you happy, whenever it makes you happy and whenever it pleases you. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what are those fragrances that you cannot wait to wear once the temperature starts to cool down a little bit. Here in Romania, we are already in the early stages of autumn, even though it's still August when I'm filming, and my birthday has just passed for a few days, but it's crazy, like the autumn just came out of nowhere. In the morning, it's so cold and chilly, and yeah, but anyways, we are not a weather channel. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what fragrances would you have added to this top or to this list. Again, if you want to tell me anything, put it in the comment section, and I promise that I will get back to you. I will see you in my next video, guys, but until then, I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye, guys.